Hi everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Stitch Sessions. Today I am going to work on a special request I've received to do a tutorial on the Waffle Stitch. So Jan, this one is for you. From what I understand, she would like to use this stitch to create a baby blanket, which is perfect because this creates such a cozy, sweet texture. So if you've seen any projects using this stitch and you've been curious about it, this is going to be the tutorial for you. And in fact, I do have a project that I will be using very soon this stitch in, and I will leave a link for it in the description box down below of this video once that is complete, if you'd like to take a look at how you can use the Waffle Stitch. So for now, let's get our materials together. Let's dive into this tutorial. And if you are new here, I invite you to press that subscribe button and hang out with me every Wednesday morning when I upload a brand new tutorial. And if you find these tutorials helpful, please do give me a thumbs up. That lets me know I'm on the right track with the type of material you like to see. And feel free to share this with anyone you think might find it useful. They're absolutely free. And it's always lovely to share my crochet journey with you all. So let's get started on the Waffle Stitch. Okay guys, so just in case you're wondering, the yarn I'm using for this quick little tutorial here is Cotton Angel Cakes by Yarnspirations. I picked this up at the beginning of the summer. I love these cotton cakes, and this summer they came up with different colorways. And in case you're wondering, this one is called Coral Rose. It's got this kind of coral with a little bit of cream that runs through. It's very, very pretty. These cakes come in 250 gram cakes, and they're perfect for blankets and cardigans because you get a lot in them. And it's 60% cotton and 40% acrylic. So they're nice and lightweight and cozy at the same time. It is considered a medium weight 4, and they recommend a 5mm hook. I am actually using a 5.5mm hook, a 5.5. It's also known as an I or a size 9 in case you're wondering. So let's get started. Okay, so you're going to begin by placing a slip knot on your hook. And this stitch is done using multiples of 3. Now, I recently have done a few of my crochet quick chats all about multiple counts and turning chains. And I go into a little bit of more in-depth explanation, but I'm also going to try to just go quickly through it here as well. So however long you want your project to be, if you're doing a blanket, for example, or even a scarf or anything like that, you want to do them in sets of 3. So for my swatch here for this tutorial, I'm just going to chain up 15. That is a multiple of 3. So I'll start with 1, 2, 3, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Okay, just want to make sure that your work is not twisted. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create row 1. This is going to be what I like to call our establishing row. It does not get repeated. It's just crochet to create a nice base row to work our stitch up from. So what we're going to do is we are going to find the 4th chain from the hook. Remember, you never count the loop that's on the hook. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. And into that 4th chain, you're going to place a double crochet. Okay, just like you normally would. And then you're going to place 1 double crochet into each chain all the way across until you get to the end of your chain. So it's pretty straightforward. Okay, so that chain, those 3 extra chains at the end now, they will count as a double crochet stitch. So go ahead, continue doing your double crochets, and I will meet you at the end of row 1. I've completed row 1 and I now have 12 stitches altogether. So remember, these first few chains here will count as a double crochet stitch. So let's take you on to row number 2. To begin row number 2, you're going to chain 3. And then you'll turn your work, okay? And what we want to do here is just be aware that this first stitch here belongs to this chain 3. So we are not going to work into that stitch. We're going to go into the very next stitch, and we're actually going to work around the post. And for those of you that have not seen my crochet lesson tutorial on identifying parts of your stitch, I know many of you found it very helpful. I will put a link for that in the description box down below if you're ever confused on, you know, what we mean by posts and stitches and loops and all that stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to place a double crochet around the next stitch, but around its post, okay, just right there. That's why it's called a front post double crochet. So you work the double crochet as usual, but by working around the post, you push the post to the front in this case, okay? And that's why we call it a front post. In the next 2 stitches, we are actually going to work into the actual stitch. So see where those V's are? We're going to work into the stitch. So we're going to place a double crochet into the next stitch. And you want to be careful. Once you've finished working around the post, you don't want to work back into that same stitch. It's easy to do if you're not paying attention, okay? So I've got 1 and I've got 2 regular double crochets. So those were worked into the stitches, okay? So right now your work is looking like this. That chain 3 counts as a stitch. The next stitch is a front post. The next 2 are regular double crochets. This is going to be your repeat for the rest of this row, meaning we're going to do a front post double crochet next, then a regular double crochet, regular double, front post, regular, regular, front post, etc. So into the next stitch, we find the post and we go in between and behind, pull up a loop, and you just resolve it like you would a regular double crochet stitch. So pull through 2 first and pull through the next 2. Okay, so there is our next front post stitch. And now in the next 2, you're going to place 2 regular double crochet stitches, 1 into each, just like that. Okay, so you can really see that it's creating a nice texture. All right, guys, so you know the repeat. And go ahead and finish row 2 and I'll meet up with you at the end. Okay, so I'm coming up to the end of my row and I've just finished my last front post double crochet stitch, but I've got these chains here. So we want to remember that they count as a stitch. So what you want to do is you want to count the 4th chain from the bottom. So you count 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that is the top of that stitch. We simply want to place a double crochet into that top chain there. And that is what you will do at the end of every row. Okay, so there is row 2, and I still have 12 stitches, but now I've got these posts. So if I just turn my work like that, you can see it creates a little bit of texture. But that's not quite the waffle yet. So we need to go on to row 3 to complete the actual stitch. So to go on to row 3, you're going to chain 3 and you will turn your work. So for row 3 and every odd numbered row, you are always going to begin with a regular double crochet. So remember in row 2, if you turn your work, we started off with a front post. But in row 3, we're going to start off with a regular double crochet. Remember that very first stitch is already spoken for. So you go into the next stitch and you double crochet. And now into the next 2 stitches, or around the post of the next 2 stitches, we're going to place a front post double crochet. So you're going to go in between and behind and pull up a loop and create a front post double, and then we do another one. Okay, so we're reversing the tasks that we did in row 2. So in row 2, like I said, we did 2 regular double crochets and 1 front post, 2 regular, 1 front post. For row 3, we are going to do 1 regular double crochet and 2 front post double crochets, okay? So we'll do that again. Into the next stitch, so you want to make sure, you might have to pull your work apart here just so you can see, this is the post. We do not work into that stitch there. Into the next stitch, you are working a regular double crochet into the top of the stitch. Okay. Now into the next 2 stitches, see how the stitches are there? We're going to work around the posts. So here's the first one, front post, double crochet, and then another one to the next stitch, front post, double crochet, okay? And then into the following stitch, we are going to work a regular double crochet. Okay, so you can see, if we turn that work like that, that creates a little bit of a texture there. Now this is the back of our work, by the way. So in a moment when I turn over, you will see the full effect of the stitch. So just finish off to the end. You have 2 front posts and a regular double crochet, and I'll meet up with you here just to take you through that last stitch. And this is my last regular double crochet, and I've got that chain 3. And remember, into the last stitch, you always find that top of the chain 3, and you're going to place a regular double crochet stitch. Now I realized the last time we did this, I said find the top of your chain 4, but that's because that chain 4 came from our establishing row. Every other row after that, it will always be the top of your chain 3. So I just didn't want to confuse you guys there. Okay, so we're ready to turn our work to show you how the waffle stitch is coming out. So it still doesn't quite look like a waffle yet, but you can see how it's starting to take shape. So that was row 2, and we just completed row 3, which is what pushes the top ridges forward. So after you repeat row 2 and 3 another 2 times, you're definitely going to see the proper stitch coming through. So let me just take you through the beginning of row 4, which is now going to be a repeat of row 2. So all of your odd number rows are going to be what you did in row 2, and all of your odd number rows are going to be what you did in row 3. So as always, you start every row by chaining 3. You'll turn your work, and because I'm repeating row 2, I'm going to front post double crochet into that first post there. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to do a regular double crochet into the next stitch. So you're going to work it into the top of the stitch, and I'm going to do it into the next one. And now I'm going to work it around the next post. And actually, they are giving themselves away because you can see now that this is already a front post. So you're going to do a front post around a front post. So now that you've done the first 3 rows, all the other rows are going to help you out. So you're just going to follow the texture as you see it. So you can see a little bit that waffle is coming through there now. And then again, you go a regular double crochet into the next, a regular into the next. Okay, and then again, I see there's a front post, so I front post. So now it's really easy to just follow the template in a way that you've created for yourself. So I have 2 regular, and then another one there. And then the last one here is a front post, and it's also come up from there. And then I have my chain 3. So remember, at the top of the 3rd chain, we always just place a double crochet. Just like that. Okay. There you go. Now you can start to see that it's creating the waffle. All right. So then you would go on to the next round and you're repeating row 3, 2, 3. You turn your work and now you can see how the ones that were regulars on the front actually look like they're being pushed forward in the back. So they're a little bit easier to see. So again, you would begin this row by placing 1 regular double crochet. And now this time you're going to do a front post into each of the next 2 stitches. Okay, so I know I said this already. Okay, so we are just basically reversing the pattern of what we did in the previous row. So let me just take that out. And so there you go. So now you can really see that that waffle stitch is coming through. Now I'm going to go ahead and do a few more rows to give you that full effect. So, but basically this is the pattern. You're off to the races. It's just repeating row 2 and 3. And like I said, this makes for wonderful baby blankets, as I know some of you are working on. It's nice and cushy and comfy and cozy, and it's just fantastic. So I'm gonna go ahead and work up the swatch a little bit more just to show you the full effect. Otherwise, press pause and work your stitch as you see fit for your project. And I'll meet you back here in a moment. Okay guys, so I have completed a total of 10 rows for my swatch here. And just to kind of give you the effect so you can really see how that waffle stitch comes out. And I love this yarn, by the way, it's so cozy. So there you have it. I hope that it took the mystique out of the waffle stitch. I know some of you were sending me questions asking about this stitch and found it a little bit daunting, but hopefully that clarified some things for you. This edge here, what I call a raw edge, that is the way it's supposed to look. And actually I like it because it almost looks like it's creating its own little rippled edge as a border, but of course you can always work a border around that if you would like your edging to sit a little bit differently. But that is totally normal. Don't panic if that's what you see. And so that is what it looks like on the front, and on the back it has a little bit of texture too, but as you can see it's just kind of in an opposite fashion where you've got the double the amount of ridges are coming forward, okay? And then the front is really where you're gonna see that waffle. Now, if you have any further detailed questions about this stitch, please do feel free to drop a question for me in the comment box down below, or email me directly at info@crochetcrafty.com. In fact, that's how Jan got in touch with me. So I hope, Jan, you find this tutorial helpful, and anyone else who is looking to try their hand at the waffle stitch. And remember to give this video a thumbs up if you would like to see more of these stitch type tutorials, along with many of our project tutorials. So in the meantime, have an amazing day, everyone. Happy crocheting, take good care of yourselves, and I will see you guys in the next session. Bye-bye.